Hey class. So yesterday we had a talk by Matt Cooper about OAuth, and I think that the talk had a lot of really good stuff in it, but Matt and I were talking afterwards and we agreed that he didn't cover the basics of OAuth in a way that would really help you understand all those details. So in this video, I'm going to give you a brief overview of some of those OAuth basics. So OAuth is an authorization protocol. Unlike a lot of the things that we've talked about in this class, the focus is more on authorization of what a service can do for you as opposed to authentication. Although it should be noted that this can be extended for authentication and is used in the OpenID Connect protocol, which build on OAuth. So an example of what we mean by authorization here is that suppose that Alice has a Fitbit and it tracks her steps, her workouts, and more. The app server has Alice's account data. So it has her information like her email address, maybe her home address, maybe her credit card number, maybe some other things like that. Of course, it has her password. It also has, of course, her fitness data. And then maybe it has some other data, like maybe there's some kind of social connection thing where you have, fitness friends and different people who have Fitbits and you're comparing against their performance and so on. Suppose that Alice also uses another app that I'm going to call Healthy Habits. I just made that up, but you can get the idea. It's just an app that helps her stay on track with her habits. For example, a Don't Break the Chain tracker that's just going to say, hey, you've had 53 days in a row of hitting your 10,000 steps goal. Keep it up. So that's really cool for Alice. And she wants Healthy Habits to be able to access her step count and maybe her workout data, right? But of course, she doesn't want it to have full access to her account. Doesn't want it to have her password, maybe her social data, right? There's certain aspects of the account that she wouldn't want it to have access to, and she doesn't want it to have any write access. It's only read access that she wants to give it. So that's the kind of authorization that we're looking to do with OAuth. All right, so the OAuth protocol then is going to solve this problem for Alice by the following protocol. And I'm going to point out that this protocol I've shown it, is a little, maybe even oversimplified. And it's worth noting that all of this is happening over TLS. So all of the connections between Alice and the Healthy Habits app server, Alice and the Fitbit server, and the Healthy Habits app server and the Fitbit server, these are all over TLS. So there's already some protection there, some security there in terms of point-to-point security. Now, Fitbit is going to be sharing Alice's fitness data and only her fitness data with the Healthy Habits app server. How do we do this? So first, Alice is going to connect to Healthy Habits and say, well, she wants to connect to Fitbit. And Healthy Habits says, great. What I'm going to need is what's called an auth code. So then Alice turns around and goes to the Fitbit server and says, I'd like a auth code for Healthy Habits, please. At this point, Healthy Habits, assuming she's logged in, can give her that auth code. Alice sends the auth code on to Healthy Habits app server. The app server sends that on to Fitbit and says, I want this information for user Alice. And Fitbit responds with Alice's fitness data. Okay, so we have these 7 messages. And that pretty much describes the heart of the protocol. All right, so I said that I may have skipped over some details there because I've simplified the protocol. Let's talk about a few of the key details that I've left out. So first of all, it's important to know that Fitbit and Healthy Habits have a pre-arranged relationship here. Healthy Habits has asked Fitbit, hey, I want to be able to provide this for my users. Would you allow it? and Fitbit has to say yes, right? So it's the data, they're holding the data, and they don't want to give it up without a good reason, and it needs to make sense for their customers and for their business model. So in this case, let's suppose that Fitbit is allowing that, and so they've already got this information about healthy habits. Secondly, this is partially automatic. So when, in particular, at message 2, okay, send me an auth code, actually comes with an HTTP redirect to Fitbit. And so your browser is going to take care of this automatically to go ahead and send. So this isn't, Alice doesn't have to like copy the code or request information over to Fitbit. No, it's just handled by the browser. At that point, so one of the things that can be necessary is that Fitbit may need to ask Alice to log in if she's not currently logged into the Fitbit server. Another thing that this means is that there's actually an extra message exchange that I haven't shown here, which is between messages 3 and 4, Fitbit, assuming that Alice is logged in, Fitbit is still going to ask Alice, well, are you sure you want this, right? I'm not going to do this unless you, as the logged in user, tell me that this is okay for you, that Healthy Habits has this data. So she clicks yes, that goes back to Fitbit, then Fitbit sends the auth code in message 4. Finally, when we get to messages 6 and 7, there's this additional detail that we're not actually just going to get Alice's fitness data. Fitbit is going to have an OAuth server, right? So it's, and you can think of this as kind of like the separation between a Kerberos authenticator server that runs on your email service and then the email service itself. So there's a server that has to handle that, and then there's the actual, email system. If you are Healthy Habits and you send the auth code, what you get back is actually something a lot like a ticket in Kerberos. It's called a token. And just like in Kerberos, it has a lifetime. So now that you have this token, then you go to the data side of the server and you ask for the data, and you're providing this token. The token can get checked against a database in the back end. So that happens after message 6, right? So back actually comes up in message 7. And then Healthy Habits is going to be using that token to access the data. That enables this session to have multiple messages over the lifetime of that token without Alice needing to reauthorize Healthy Habits each time that it needs to get additional data. Okay, so one other piece that I want to talk about when it comes to OAuth is PKCE, PKCE. And Matt Cooper mentioned PKCE, but I want to break it down a little bit more in detail. The reason we use PKCE is because we're worried that auth codes could be stolen. So if we have, say, a malicious browser extension, that browser extension could be overprivileged and be gathering information that it's not really supposed to get. We could also have apps stealing from other apps. So if we're talking about mobile apps, we have issues like intent redirection and universal links that can facilitate those apps getting auth codes. And so we have that auth code, being sent around messages 4, 5, and 6. And we don't want that we don't want those to be stolen at the client at Alice. So what we can do is this thing called PKCE, Proof Key for Code Exchange. And the way it works is this. We've got the Healthy Habits app server generating a code verifier. That's a random string, and it sends it in message 2. It actually doesn't send the code verifier. It actually sends a hash of the code verifier, and we call that the code challenge. In message 3, that code challenge is being passed along to Fitbit, the server. And so now Fitbit has a copy of the code challenge and can save that. Later on, in message 6, Healthy Habits can send the code verifier, the unhashed value, to Fitbit. And of course, only Healthy Habits could have had that value because of the one-way property of hash functions. So we know that, Alice and any malicious, browser extensions or malicious apps that are on the Alice's client might have been able to steal the code challenge value, but it never would have seen the code verifier itself. Only the Healthy Habits app would have that code verifier. So when it sends it, it knows that Healthy Habits is legitimately holding the authentication code because it has this code verifier. So that's it. That's PKCE, which helps to secure OAuth, and that's what we're going to talk about for OAuth in this class.